Most people think ancient humans spent their entire lives in one small place, never traveling farther than the horizon they could see. Born in one valley, hunting in the same forest, then dying only a few miles from where they entered the world. That image feels logical because ancient humans had no cars, no roads, no maps, and no modern technology. So naturally, we assume prehistoric people stayed close to home because the world outside was too dangerous to cross. But that image is completely wrong. Your ancestors were travelers long before civilization, countries, or written history ever existed. Not tourists searching for adventure, but survivors moving through a brutal world that constantly tried to kill them. And some of the journeys they made sound almost impossible even by modern standards. Imagine standing on a frozen plain 30,000 years ago with nothing around you except endless snow and wind. No cities, no lights, no roads, no signs of civilization anywhere on Earth. Behind you, winters are becoming colder, while animals are disappearing from the hunting grounds your family depends on. Children are getting thinner, rivers freeze earlier every year, and food is becoming harder to find. Then somewhere beyond the horizon might exist warmth, food, safety, or another chance to survive. So one morning, a small group of humans makes the most terrifying decision imaginable. They leave everything behind and begin walking into complete uncertainty. Not knowing what exists ahead, not knowing how far they must travel, and not knowing if they will survive the journey. That single decision changed human history forever. Because humanity didn't conquer the earth through strength alone. Humanity walked across it, step by step. And the deeper archaeologists study prehistoric humans, the stranger the story becomes. For a long time, scientists assumed ancient people rarely traveled far from their home territories. The idea made sense because travel in the ancient world was unbelievably dangerous in ways modern humans barely understand. There were no hospitals, rescue teams, weather forecasts, roads, or emergency supplies waiting if something went wrong. One broken leg could mean death hundreds of miles from safety or shelter. One violent storm could erase an entire traveling group without leaving a single trace behind. And yet, evidence keeps appearing that ancient humans traveled astonishing distances long before civilization existed. Archaeologists discovered volcanic glass from one region carried hundreds of miles into completely different territories. Shell necklaces from distant coastlines have been found buried deep inland, far away from the ocean itself. Rare stones crossed entire mountain ranges carried only by human hands and determination. This wasn't random wandering or accidental movement across the landscape. Humans were exploring, trading, communicating, and connecting across enormous distances during prehistoric times. Even during the Ice Age, humans continued pushing farther into dangerous unknown territory instead of staying still. Then archaeologists uncovered something even more unbelievable about ancient human travel. Some of your ancestors crossed open oceans more than 60,000 years ago. That discovery completely changed how scientists understood prehistoric human intelligence and navigation abilities. Because Australia was never fully connected to mainland Asia by land bridges during human migration periods. To reach Australia, prehistoric humans had to cross dangerous open water where no land was visible ahead. Think carefully about how terrifying that actually would have been in the ancient world. No maps, no compasses, no engines, no radios, and absolutely no rescue if something went wrong. Just endless dark water stretching beyond the horizon in every direction. And somehow your ancestors looked at that terrifying ocean and decided to sail directly into it anyway. Nobody knows exactly what those prehistoric boats looked like because time erased most evidence thousands of years ago. Maybe they used simple rafts built from wood and plant fibers tied together by hand. Maybe they carved primitive canoes or built designs we still haven't imagined yet. But whatever those boats looked like, they worked well enough to carry entire families across dangerous waters. Imagine floating across open ocean carrying children, food, tools, animal hides, and fire with nowhere safe to stop. Imagine storms appearing suddenly in complete darkness while huge waves smashed against fragile wooden boats. No idea where land existed, no way to turn back safely, and no certainty you would survive until morning. That instinct to keep moving may be one of the most powerful forces in human history. Again and again, humans entered environments they were never supposed to survive successfully. Frozen tundras, burning deserts, endless forests, towering mountains, and islands surrounded by deadly oceans. And somehow humans adapted to every single environment the planet threw against them. Around 20,000 years ago during the Ice Age, sea levels dropped dramatically across the planet. A massive stretch of land connected Siberia to North America through what scientists now call the Bering Land Bridge. But to your ancestors, it wasn't a famous migration route or historic discovery. It was simply another horizon. Somewhere in the freezing north, small groups of humans slowly crossed into an entirely new continent without realizing it. Not through one giant migration, but through generations slowly moving farther east over centuries. A family moves farther than their parents, then their children continue even farther after them. Over time, humans spread across North America without understanding they had entered an entirely different world. That may be the strangest part about prehistoric travel and migration. Most ancient travelers had absolutely no idea how far they were actually going. No global map existed in their minds, and no concept of continents existed the way modern humans understand them today. To prehistoric humans, the world was immediate and local, focused entirely on survival and movement. Where can we find water? Where are the animals moving? And where is winter less deadly this year? Survival itself became the map guiding ancient human migration across the earth. Some groups followed giant animal herds across enormous distances over multiple generations. Others traveled seasonally between forests, rivers, coastlines, and hunting grounds, depending on weather and food. Humanity itself became nomadic long before cities and civilization chained people permanently to one place. But prehistoric travel was never peaceful or comfortable the way modern travel feels today. Imagine moving through an Ice Age forest at night without flashlights, roads, or even a clear path ahead. Every sound outside the firelight could mean a predator waiting somewhere in the darkness. Wolves hunted ancient humans, giant bears roamed forests, and prehistoric lions were larger than many predators alive today. Your campfire was often the only thing separating your family from the darkness surrounding you. Even crossing rivers was far more terrifying than modern humans usually imagine. One powerful river crossing could trap traveling groups for days without food, shelter, or safe passage. A single mistake while crossing icy water could kill not only you, but also the children you carried. And then there were mountains standing directly in the path of migrating humans. Your ancestors crossed freezing mountain ranges without climbing gear, weather forecasts, insulated clothing, or oxygen support. Families climbed dangerous passes, carrying tools, animal hides, food, and infants strapped onto their backs. Not for adventure or exploration, but because survival demanded they keep moving forward. Somewhere beyond those mountains might exist warmer land, larger animal herds, or another chance to survive winter. And this is where the story becomes strangely emotional once you think deeply about it. Every single human alive today is descended from travelers willing to keep moving into uncertainty. Not from the people who stayed safely behind, but from the ones willing to risk everything on unknown horizons. The curious ones, the desperate ones, and the brave ones who continued walking despite fear. Your entire existence depends on ancient humans refusing to stop moving forward into dangerous unknown worlds. And maybe the greatest ancient travelers of all were the Polynesian navigators crossing the Pacific Ocean. Long before modern navigation technology existed, Polynesian sailors crossed enormous stretches of open ocean with shocking accuracy. Even today, experienced sailors struggle to fully understand how advanced their navigation knowledge actually was. They memorized stars, ocean currents, bird behavior, cloud formations, and the movement of waves beneath their boats. Some navigators could reportedly detect islands beyond the horizon simply by reading patterns hidden within the water itself. Imagine sailing for days surrounded by endless ocean while navigating entirely through memory and the night sky above you. Modern humans would call that impossible, but your ancestors simply called it survival and travel. But ancient journeys were not always driven by curiosity or exploration alone. Sometimes humans moved because the earth itself forced them to leave everything behind. Droughts, floods, volcanic eruptions, famine, and ice ages pushed entire populations across continents over thousands of years. In many ways, human history is really the story of movement, migration, and survival against impossible conditions. Modern life has made us forget how extraordinary ancient travel really was, because today crossing the world feels effortless. Now, airplanes cross oceans in hours, while maps instantly show every destination on Earth through a glowing screen. But your ancestors crossed the planet one dangerous step at a time, through darkness, storms, hunger, and uncertainty. Somewhere in the distant past, a small, exhausted group of humans looked toward an unknown horizon and kept walking.